Divorce is one of the most terrible things and rated up there as one of the top 5 stressors in life, as many of you know. And when it becomes difficult for you to separate amicably and even more challenging for you to maintain contact with your children, alienation and all sorts of underhand tactics are at the order of the day. My guest today is Yunes Infanti, and he's here to share his story and what he's learned from his own experience. Yunes, thank you so much for agreeing to talk to me and welcome here.
Thank you very much. Thank you for hosting me.
Please just jump in and tell us your story. Where did this start for you?
Sinta, like my attorney previously said, I should have seen the writing on the wall. It started in about 2021, where there was slight signs of it, where my ex-wife used to post on Father's Day pictures of her father and my son on her social media platforms saying best father in the world. And I never got to see the signs in that. And I just assumed, it's just a love for a parent. Couldn't be anything malicious. I didn't take it to heart. It got worse and worse and worse over time. We stayed quite far from them, about 1,200 kilometers away from them. And when they retired, they were a bit bored. My psychologist said that they needed something to basically add value to their life. And in turn, their only grandson that they have, which is my son, was basically now the center of their universe. So there were slight signs of that I should have noticed as well. Everyday phone calls, telling my wife, we'll look better after you, we'll look better after your son, you deserve this, you got to get that, you need this in your life. A whole lot of things like that I never took to heart, because our relationship was, I thought it was strong. I never intended to get married, to get divorced or anything like that. And slowly but surely it just declined. I noticed things afterwards that I didn't notice during the time. Was like whenever my wife was on the phone with her parents, she'd get off the phone and was in a totally different mood, quite aggressive, quite angry, no real reason for it. At stages, even my child asked, Mom, why are you like this? And eventually, during December 2022, her brother decided to go and visit her parents in the Cape. And I think she was left a little bit out because they kept on phoning and saying, listen, will you come and visit? And from past experiences, I felt like I'm not getting along with her parents. And we didn't have the financial resources at that stage. And also with her brother and their 2 children being over there, I felt that the house would have been a bit crowded. So in any case, we went to a birthday party and my wife decided to act on the situation. Luckily for me, at that stage, I wasn't, well, I reacted as well to it. My wife basically hit me through the face while we were driving and jumped out of the car. My son saw the whole thing. Luckily, it happened in front of a security estate, and there was a witness, a security guard, and he saw the whole thing, and I had an affidavit from him. Also, the next morning, went to go and report the assault to the police and at the family courts on advice from my lawyer, and there was an arrest warrant issued, but I withheld it. I didn't want to serve it on my wife, thinking, it's rather something that I have, but it's the last resort. In any case, funny enough, the next morning her ticket was already bought to fly to the Cape. And as far as I know, you need consent from both parents to fly a local flight. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't happen. In any case, she told me that she's at a friend's house, and the day went by, and I thought, let her calm down, see what happens. The next day, I phoned a friend. I said, I'm a bit concerned about my wife. Where is she? Is everything all right? Her friend said to me, no, she dropped her off at the airport, according to her dad's instructions. Um, I
Eunice,
phoned her.
is this with your son now?
Yes, with my
She
son.
went off with your son. Okay.
Yes. I
And were
phoned
you
her a
still
couple.
married at that time?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I phoned her a couple of times asking what's going on. Where is she? She eventually came out and said, listen, she is here with her parents. They're going to have a holiday together, but I shouldn't worry because she'll be back in Boxing Day, just after Christmas.
Mm.
And I left it. And Boxing Day came and went. And then it was a promise for the 2nd of January, after New Year's. January came and went. And next thing I found out, my son is registered or enrolled in another school without my consent as well.
Sure.
Um, Out of the blue, I receive a protection order, um, charged with domestic violence, physical abuse, emotional abuse, um, financial abuse, everything that you could throw at me. Wanted me to be out of our matrimonial home with no intention of coming back. So that's where I realized the maliciousness is starting.
Mm.
As soon as I got that, I then decided, well, if that's the way it's going to go, I'm going to also serve the warrant of arrest on you.
Mm.
And she got the warrant of arrest as well for her court appearance back in Bloemfontein, after my domestic violence appearance in the local magistrates court in Leiplek. Then the charming facade started again. Phone calls of uni, all be nice. Let's act in the best interest of our child. Let's both drop this domestic violence charges and I'll see you again. We'll come home and we'll sort it out. Or we'll continue with the divorce. Silly me decided, okay, last thing I really want is for my child to see my wife being arrested
Mm.
and also charged with abduction, even though it was legal.
Mm.
It's called legal abduction at that stage.
Mm.
Luckily for me, if I did not take out that assault case, or if I did not lay that charge of assault case, I would have been a victim of the silver bullet divorce.
Mm.
The policeman, the night that appeared where she jumped out of the car, they went and the security guard phoned the police, and they arrived on scene. And when I pitched up at the police station to give my side of the story and ask, where's my wife? He even said to me, listen, go stay at your parents' house because he's seen this so many times.
Mm.
Um, it's happened all over South Africa and it's happening on a daily basis. What's going to happen is she's going to get amorous with you and you could be charged with rape as well.
Mm.
And they've seen it before. Well, I
Yes.
decided, well, I'm not going to go back home. I'm going to stay with my parents and then arrive to an empty house the next day. So, luckily for me, I had that assault case, which was basically a lifesaver. If it wasn't for that, I would have been sitting in prison,
Being
lost
accused of
my.
all sorts of things.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
Eventually, out of the blue, I received a summons for a divorce. And we continued with the divorce. The thing is, with that, we resided in Bloemfontein. We were married in Bloemfontein, and my child was born in Bloemfontein. So the jurisdiction is actually in Bloemfontein, but
Mm.
they sent me a divorce from the Western Cape.
Mm.
This is where the underhanded legal tactics started. When my attorney decided, we both dropping the domestic violence charges, but she continued with the allegations of abuse. She
Mm.
continued telling the psychologist that I abused her, even though there was no prior history. I mean, we've been married for 13 years. There's never been any prior history with that, or with me of any of my other previous relationships of any abuse of that sort.
Mm.
Um, Eventually, my attorney decided, look, we'll handle the divorce, and if she wants to continue with the domestic violence cases, we'll handle that in the criminal court as well.
Mm.
They then sent me a letter originating from their legal firm saying that it's going to be uncontested and we're just going to continue with the divorce. They started litigating for the smallest things, the pot plants, the cutlery, the furniture, every
Mm,
little thing that they could litigate because their pockets are much deeper than what mine are.
mm,
Eventually, it got to such a point that when school started, this is where it got really, I think, nauseating for me. I phoned my son, and or my son actually phoned me, sitting in the back of their vehicle. I was at work at that stage, and it was a big joke to them. They made my son tell me, "Listen, Daddy, you're not my daddy anymore. Opa's my dad now."
wow.
Yeah, luckily for me, I have an employee who was sitting right next to me at that stage, and she turned around with a shock in her face, like, what are they doing? What they
Mm,
can't, the poor little child. So I told my son, um, Zuan, his name, I'm really sorry you feel that way, but you shouldn't be saying that because how can Opa be your daddy and your mommy's daddy? And if you say that at school, people are going to laugh at you. And then I did a silly thing and I said, besides that, he's too old and ugly to be your Opa, to be your father. I'm your father. And remember that I love you.
mm,
Next thing again, I receive another litigation letter saying that I called the father ugly,
mm,
and that's defamation.
mm,
So it was, my attorney said to me, they're using your own words against you. Rather not speak to them any further, rather have all communication through me. Um, Eventually, I went on holiday, booked a plane ticket to go and see them, to see my son in April, the Easter. Um, three days before the time, before I'm supposed to leave, my wife tells me no, she's got other plans. She's seeing a friend. They're not going to be in town, so I had to cancel my tickets, cancel or postpone all my bookings again until July. Eventually, in the July holidays, I save up a lot of money, pay for the rebooking fees. Um, the accommodation is much more expensive because it's a vacation season's holiday season.
mm,
I make a plan to go and see my son. Um, when I arrived over there, they sent another litigation document, a consent form, which allowed me 50-50 parental rights, but it was not signed on their side. I signed it and returned it and said, I'm happy with this. As long as I get to see my child, I don't care about the materialistic things. She can have everything in the house, pot plants, whatever it is. It's just materialistic stuff. Won't be the first time I'm starting over. I get there, I see my child, spend some time together with him. Um, we have a really great time. On the last day, second last day, she tells me he's got an earache. You won't be able to see him today. My lawyer advised me go to the police station and open up a affidavit and say that you'd been denied access to your child.
mm,
Um, Later that day, she sends me a message. Okay, yeah, can come and fetch him at 12 o'clock. My normal time is from 9 until 5, but now this amount of time was taken away from me. The last day that I'm there, before I have to fly the next morning very early, she sends me a message again. We have another appointment. Please come and fetch him at 11 o'clock and bring him back at 3 o'clock, which is a lot of time taken away from me because I don't get to see my child that often.
mm,
Um, I was forced to agree. It was take it or leave it situation. See, she's basically said, if you don't like it, then you won't see him at all. So what am I supposed to do? Just I ate humble pie and did what I had to do in order to see my son. Um, on the last day, police phones me saying I've been subpoenaed for maintenance. I need to appear at the maintenance court 2 days after my flight is left for Bloemfontein. I eventually go to the police station, sign that I've received my subpoena, and had to arrange another lawyer on this side to appear on my behalf. Cost me a big deposit, money for the day, and just to postpone the case. Even though on the divorce decree or the divorce papers, we've already come to an agreement on maintenance that I was paying since December, since the day that she's left.
Mm.
Eventually, that got postponed. Communication between my child and me got less and less and less. They forced me to go and see a clinical psychologist. I agreed. Psychologist said I should have a drug test. I did that, had the drug test. The report of the psychologist came back that, well, the drug test is clear, but he recommends, because of the allegations of abuse that Yulandis basically said that I've done, that I can only see my son after the age of 10.
And how
And
old was he at this time?
I didn't agree with that at all. I thought to myself, the way things are going, it's only getting bad to worse. I used to speak to him 3 times a day. Now I'm struggling twice a week to speak to him. So it's detrimental to our relationship. I'm not going to agree to seeing him only after the age of 10.
And Yunes, just tell us, how old was he at this point in time?
6 years old.
So that would have meant that you couldn't see him for 4 years.
4 years, yes, turning 7.
Okay.
More litigation documents back and forth. Even though I signed the first consent form, they didn't sign it. Then they returned another consent form, which had the psychologist's recommendation of only after the age of 10. And I decided I'm really not, I won't be able to form a relationship with my child if that's the case. Again, I asked his psychologist to basically find out what is wrong. Why is my child unnecessarily angry with me? Why doesn't he want to speak to me over the phone? He used to send me gibberish messages, all emojis and little ticks and everything like that, just to keep contact with me. And I used to love it. I used to then return a phone call, get him when nobody is in the vicinity. And we used to have fun talking. It got to such a bad extent that he was in his room phoning me. He was whispering to me, and he was jumping on the bed, acting out, like kids do. He was being Spider-Man and so forth. His mom opened up the door and told him, "I told you I don't like violence." And eventually, he was so scared and afraid that he hid under the bed away from me, and he just waved to me like this on the phone and hung up. That broke my heart. It's something that no father really wants to see and so forth. Eventually, speaking to him, it was always an awkward situation for him. They made him feel so guilty for speaking to me that every time I video phoned him, it seemed like he was looking left and right as to get a proper answer or to not say anything wrong. So he was put on a guilt trip that obviously he didn't want to speak to me because he's now being triangulated in this mess. Eventually, his report came out for the psychologist as well. They said that he should not be made to feel guilty for speaking to me, and they should not be involved in our telephone conversations at all. So communication between myself and Yolandi also had to stop. We had to go through a WhatsApp group with one psychologist in it and only communicate on that group. What has happened then afterwards is when I phone Zuan and we're speaking, his mother or his grandmother would say, Zuan, would you like some ice cream? Get off the phone first before you get some ice cream. I phone another time and I'm on the phone for 2 minutes with him. He's busy showing me his Legos that he's just built and so forth. His grandfather grabs the keys, dangles the keys. Zuan turns around, where are you going? He says, no, I'm going to the shop. If you want a toy, come with me. Just get off the phone.
Sure.
Yeah, it's terrible. And eventually, my conversations over the telephone just went from 3 times a day to once a week to practically nothing for over months. And eventually I decided I'm going to come visit him again. And before the time I need to see his psychologist to ask her to do a parental alienation syndrome test. She did it. And basically, the only point that failed the parental alienation syndrome test was when she asked him, who loves you? and he still said that I love him,
Mm.
which I tell him every single day, every time I phone him. So that was the only point. I think psychologists are a little bit afraid to diagnose or
Mm.
even put a report about parental alienation because of maybe the consequences or something that happens to them. I have no idea. But she eventually noted that when she asked him to draw a picture of his family, he drew a picture of his mom on the right hand side, his grandfather on the left hand side, and his grandmother on the left hand side, and me in the background quite far away. And
Mm.
the psychologist said that the distance is taking its toll, the toll on our relationship. Um, I didn't want to lose my son. I don't want to lose my son. So I'm
Mm.
doing everything in my might to be with him. I decided, I'm going to pack up everything that I have and move closer to him. I left my business, I left my family, I left the matrimonial home, moved into a place 2 kilometers away from his school in order to see him every day. And yet things are even getting worse. Thinking that, okay, now I'm going to have to see him every day. I can spend more time with him. But that's when the level of manipulation literally doubled. Um, he gets used as a pawn, as a messenger, um, on adult stuff that's got nothing really to do with him.
Mm.
And I can literally see how angry he is in having to relay messages. And um, I keep on telling him, your shoulders aren't made for this, my child. It's adult stuff. It's between your mother and me. If she wants this and this equipment, let her phone me, or the lawyers will sort it out, and we can see from there what's going to happen. Um, since the school holidays, the family advocates, because I got the family advocate involved, because the last consent form that they sent, they even went to go and change what the psychologist recommendation was. So in the fine print, the psychologist's recommendation said, okay, I can see him when I'm down over there every day from 9 until 5 during the holidays that I'm there. They went to change it to weekends only. So
Mm.
how can I travel 1,200 kilometers just to see him over a weekend?
Yeah.
And yeah, that just makes it impossible
Mm.
for me to have a bond with my child. Um, we got the family advocates involved. They sent out a long distance parenting recommendation. But this was now after I've moved over here. Then I requested, listen, I have moved closer. I am 2 kilometers away from his school. He is 43 kilometers that way and 43 kilometers back. So that's like 96, no, 86 kilometers a day that he's got to drive, plus the small stops to drop off the other kids as well. Over 100 kilometers that he's got to drive back and forth every day to school. And in wintertime, he wakes up in the morning, it's still dark outside. So I
Mm.
feel really sorry for him that he has to go through that and travel so far just to get to school every single day. Um, I decided that I'm going to go see him every single day after school for 3 or 4 minutes just before he gets into the bus so I can find out about his day and
Mm.
restore our bond and so forth. His psychologist recommended that I see him every alternate Friday after school and then every Saturday and Sunday. It eventually went down to the Saturdays that I can see him was a whole day from 9 until 5. The Sundays, I mean, I'm totally capable of taking my child to church as well. So the Sundays was removed from 9 o'clock until 5 o'clock, from to 11:30 and until 5 o'clock because he needs to go to church on that side. Also, the Fridays that I have, because I live so close to his school, I would like to fetch him from the school instead of he
Mm.
getting on the bus and then traveling 90 kilometers there
Mm.
and back just to spend a couple of hours with him. So that's what I arranged with the school. There's no court order in place denying me access to my child. My wife eventually said no, phoned the bus and told him he's not allowed to get onto the bus with me. Phoned him at his school saying that he's got a cell phone with him. And I asked him, why has he got the cell phone with him? It's not allowed at school. He says, no, in case I get kidnapped. So it's like, who's going to kidnap you, my child? Now I don't know, but it's been fed to him. It's words
Yeah.
that have been coached to him. Um, it got to such a point that the day that I went to go and fetch him from the school, the principal had to get involved because my son was in tears. And I don't want to cause any resentment to him, so I decided, let it be. I'll go and fetch him in any case on that side. I drive all the way that side just for him to send me a message saying that his tummy is sore. I mean, I saw him a couple of minutes before that, and there was absolutely nothing wrong with him.
Mm.
And this happened every Friday that it's supposed to be my time with him. Make me drive all the way over there. When I get there, there's an excuse. Uh, his tummy is sore. He's not feeling well. The weather is bad. I've heard every excuse in the book.
Mm.
I've eventually decided every time there's an excuse, I'm going to go and open up an affidavit at the police station, date, time, and the excuse, and the screenshots of the messages of the
Mm.
excuses. So far, I've got 5 different affidavits from that. The last incident as well, the psychologist decided to not mediate between Yolandi and I anymore. Her job is for Zuan's best interest. And after she recommended that I see Zuan more often, my wife decided she's not going to take him to the psychologist anymore. And it's a unilateral decision. And even his psychologist was a bit upset because of that. Um, she thinks that it's not in his best interest because a child needs to have both parents in their life for him to grow up um,
Mm.
healthy childhood
Relationship with both. Yeah.
relationship as well and bond. And since then, she hasn't taken him to a psychologist. I pitch up over there this last Saturday. Um, she sent me an email on the Friday, my dates and my time, Saturday from 9 o'clock until 5 o'clock, Sunday from 11:30 until 5 o'clock. I get there on Saturday morning. Well, the previous Friday, I saw my son and he was very eager to see me. We had plans to go to the Spur. If the weather was good, we were going to go have a beach day. We were really looking forward to the plans. I get there and he's on the phone with me. He sends me a message. He says, my tummy is sore. I don't feel well. I'm not going to come out. So I said, Zoan, I'm perfectly capable of looking after a kid with a sore tummy. Come outside. I'm waiting for you. I reverse out of their driveway and I sit across the road from the car or from their house in my car. And next thing, the police show up. Her father phoned the police on me saying that there is a suspicious vehicle parked in front of their house.
Good grief.
Yes, I showed the police the signed recommendation and stamped from the family advocate of my assigned time. I showed them the email sent from my wife, and I said, "This is actually my legal right to see my child, whether he's sick or
Mm.
not. He's 7 years old. He doesn't have the right to make that decision. Um, please go and ask him himself if he would like to come out and see me and speak to me." 2 officers went inside and spoke to my wife and her father, and they came up with every excuse why my child can't come down and speak to me. Eventually, I phoned my lawyer and he said, "Look, you're not going to force your child to come out now. Just go with the police to their police station and open up an affidavit of what just
Mm.
happened." The police even wrote me an affidavit of what has happened, saying that they were called out to the scene for a suspicious vehicle. When
Mm.
they got there, all my legal documents was in place to see my child, and that the parents made excuses, or her parents and her made excuses for my child not to come and see me. This is also on the affidavit that I've had from the police. I've been sending these to the family advocate along with all the other affidavits. Eventually, they've returned now and said they're going to get a social worker to interview my child,
Mm.
and I'm waiting for that at the moment. Before that, I also requested that my child, because my wife now stopped taking him to a psychologist, I requested that another psychologist basically assess him.
Mm.
She doesn't give any consent to it. I asked that the psychologist, who is a FAMSA accredited psychologist, also very, very well known, and she's a mediator, I asked my wife to attend mediation so we can get uh, a way forward that I can have more time with my son. She completely disagreed to it as well. All of this is on email as well, where she just is uncooperative in every sense and delaying through fictitious litigation as much as possible. I mean, if it wasn't for the litigation in the beginning, um, the the jurisdiction of my divorce would have moved to Bloemfontein. But they carried on litigating for an entire year with the intention to keep my child away from me for that year. And now that he is been away from our matrimonial home for a year, the jurisdiction has changed. So that's also another reason why I decided to move closer to him, so um, that I can get my fair 50-50 parental time with him. At this moment, I only see him for about 5 minutes, if that, at the school before he gets onto the bus. I still can't pick him up from the school and take him directly home with me. And I'm still struggling to get my assigned time on the weekends with him, with every single excuse in the book. He doesn't speak to me telephonically anymore. The school holidays were supposed to be assigned 50-50 with me. On Father's Day, his psychologist recommended that he sleep over. He was made to feel so guilty that he knew about it because I told him, you're going to sleep over tonight. But the whole day he's asking me, what's the time? What's the time? So I said, don't you worry about the time. We're going to have a great time. We're going to go find a storybook for you to read. We're going to build a fort in front of the TV, and we're going to play. You're going to sleep over. It's going to be fantastic. Eventually at 6 o'clock, my child is so nervous. He's looking out the door. He sees it's getting dark and he's getting anxious. So I phoned his psychologist and I said, look, yeah, I don't want to cause any resentment in my child. I'm going to take him back to his mom's house. But I asked him, why is he feeling like this? And his words to me was, Oma and Opa said that they won't be able to sleep if I'm not there. And Mommy said that my dog's going to cry all night if I'm not over there. So I sent Yolandi a message on the group with the psychologist, and I said, listen, please stop it with this. My child needs to spend time with me. We have a great bond. He is happy with me every time we're over here. But I don't think it's right that you make him feel guilty about spending time with me. Eventually, on my birthday, on the 7th of July, I prepared him the whole time to sleep over. He slept over that night during the school holidays. It was wonderful. He had a great time. He didn't ask once about his dog or anything else like that as well. We built a fort. I cooked for him. We played games. It was fantastic. The next day, I took him back at 5 o'clock. His psychologist had a meeting with him the following Monday. She was very happy with the results. She says Zuan's very comfortable around his father. We should try a little bit longer. The weekend came up and he was assigned 2 nights to sleep over with me. That also went extremely well. The first night, his psychologist phoned him on my phone. I left him to speak. They were out in the garage. They were out in the garden talking for about 15 minutes. She asked him all sorts of questions. And she reported back again that Zuan seems very happy. I was not in the vicinity of the conversation. He should be fine sleeping over another night. And he was very happy sleeping over another night. And as soon as the school started again, I was supposed to have him sleeping over on the Saturday night because now it's been one night and then 2 nights in a row.
mm,
And Yolandi has just disagreed to that. She said, now we're going to go back to the old routine. You only get him every second Friday and every second Saturday and Sunday from this and this time, which is, again, one step forward, three step backwards. Now all of the progress that the psychologist has done, it's all down the drain. All of the work that she's done to restore our bond, all down the drain again. And once again, my child has got unnecessary anger towards me, um, asking me questions about why I parked in front of the car, their house like that. Um, it's really, he walks even past me at the school bus without even saying hello. So I asked him, why are you like this? What's going on? And he tells me, stop stalking me. So stalking, I asked him, where did you learn that word? It's a very big word for a 7-year-old. And he just got into the bus and didn't want to see me. So
Yes.
I'm at
I,
world
I,
end.
yeah, sorry. I just want to take a moment here to just acknowledge what you're going through. It's absolutely heartbreaking, and I'm grateful for you for sharing your story with us. What you have described so far is textbook underhanded tactics that are used in divorce, is something that I see every day. And I know people that are going to watch this video might think that this is unbelievable.
It
People might
is. You
think
can't make this stuff up.
this is worse than a soap opera. But I want to just take a moment to say to anybody who's going to watch this video, this stuff is real. It happens. I see it myself every day. In fact, I have personally experienced it as well. This type of strategy to break you down, to frustrate you, to hinder your contact with your child systematically over a period of time is designed to break you, to get you on your knees until you give up. And this is something that is quite common. It is rife. This sort of alienation is rife. So I just want to acknowledge that and make
Yes.
sure that people who are watching this video know that this is the truth. This sort of thing goes on every day.
Yes.
It's
Um,
absolutely incredible that
yeah,
you
no,
have
it gets
actually
it gets
persisted
worse.
so long.
It gets worse, Sinta.
Mm-hmm.
They went as far as making a Father's Day card. Made my child make a Father's Day card for me, but
Mm-hmm.
signing his name as their maiden name, even though
Sure.
on his birth certificate it says Infanti. He was
Mm-hmm.
born Infanti. I
Mm-hmm.
took screenshots of this. I forwarded through to the family advocate. I recorded my child. I asked him, "What's your name?" He he's confused. He thinks his name is Murray. So I said, no, your name is Infanti. So he says,
Mm-hmm.
it's also Infanti. So I said, Nini, it's on your ID book, it's on your birth certificate. That's your surname. It took me over a year and a half to get his school report.
Wow. Mm.
Yeah. Eventually, I had to send a letter to the Department of Education and the private schools board complaining, listen, I don't understand how he in the first place, was enrolled into a school without my consent.
Mm-hmm.
And second of all, why is his school report being denied to me,
Well,
his
yeah.
biological father?
Mm.
So it took me over a year and a half just to get his school report.
And schools are not allowed to do that. They are acting illegally. They
Correct.
should include both parents in all their communication and all reports and things, especially separated and divorced parents.
Yes.
Yeah. Eunice, these sort of things happen all the time. And like I said sooner, it's like a soap opera when we live this. And I'm not trying to make light of it. It's the impact of this sort of alienation is profound on you and on your child. And the worst
Um,
thing is that the long-term impact on your child will be
correct.
tremendous.
Correct. I'm an
Mm,
adult. I can handle it. I can, I'm looking forward to the future. I'm thinking to
mm,
myself, you know, I, I'm not going to give up on my son. I
mm.
can't give up on my flesh and blood. He's my only child. But he's being denied an entire branch of his family, of
Yes.
our culture.
Mm,
Um, they're using him as a pawn. He's a tug of war. All for what? You know, it's not in his best interest at all. I mean, it's just causing him to have trust issues. It's basically a breeding ground for him to develop personality issues, lying in order to protect the peace.
It's tremendous pressure that is put on him, especially because he's so young. And
Correct.
as children, all their basic need is to feel safe and to have a healthy attachment with their caregivers. And a child in his position has to go to such extremes to just survive in that situation, because he must be feeling unsafe all the time. And he needs to, obviously, if he's alienated to this degree, he needs to do all sorts of things to appease his mother and appease his grandparents.
Correct.
So he's under a lot of strain and stress, and it's so confusing because, as you said, you're an adult, and that in no way diminishes the impact and the trauma that you're going through. But he is not equipped to even try and make sense of any of this. He's just trying to survive and has a need to feel safe and secure. And he has
Correct.
to do a lot of things to keep
Correct.
the adults who are misbehaving and doing unfair things. He needs to keep them happy.
Yes.
Which is the
And
tragedy of the situation.
that's a tragedy, because it's his shoulders are not made for this. It's not built for
Yes.
this. He's way too young to have to be the peacemaker in between everything. And now that unhealthy attachment relationship that he has, it's just going to develop into unhealthy relationships in his future. I also feel that you know, I did so much research, something called helicopter parenting syndrome. Now that's also being passed on to him as well. So I'm actually in such a heartbroken stage for my son more than anything else. I feel as though, you know, fair enough, get divorced, but don't weaponize a child. That's not necessary.
It's child abuse. That's what it is.
That's basically, I agree with it. That's basically what it boils down to. Legal abduction. In South Africa's constitutional law says you can live wherever you want to. I would have paid a fortune for a high court order to get them back to Bloemfontein, just for them to say they're going to move back again a week later. So luckily for me, I didn't do that. But this tactic, it's rife in South Africa. I'm not the first parent to go through this. I'm certainly not the last one. And in going through this, I've managed to make friends with people who are surprising enough going through exactly the same issue. There are countless cases of where grandparents have got involved because now their whole nucleus has changed in order to keep their grandparents or their grandkids closer to them, and in turn ruin marriages and also a child for their own selfish needs. I mean, what legacy are they really leaving behind?
This sort of thing is much more common than most people out there know. I have interviewed many fathers and mothers, but fathers specifically from all over the world who've been alienated from their children. And the strategy, the tactics are almost, there are a handful of strategies that I've come to know. And they are almost the same every time. The false allegations and the protection orders that come, and then the claims, and then the moving around and the changing of arrangements and the last minute changes and the timing of all these summonses that are issued and everything. It's been carefully planned. And the sad thing is that it is lawyers, it's the legal people who have come up with these strategies, and they are ruining families. They're ruining
Correct.
people's lives because of unethical legal strategies that they've come up with to win with litigation.
Correct. Correct. Every little loophole
Yeah,
in order to drag out the situation, um, because if it gets resolved quicker, they not making any money out of it.
exactly, exactly. They drag it out for years and they're making money all the way. But then I also need to add that there are people, and I have personally come across many mental health professionals who are involved in these cases. Some of them are downright malicious as well,
That's what I've
similar to some
experienced.
of the lawyers, but many of them are not informed. Many people still don't know about parental alienation, and alienation is a controversial topic. There are people in the world who say there's no such thing, and there are people who've actually proven it to a large degree. They are, it's controversial, and I think it will remain controversial as long as the legal industry is making money from it. But many
Yes.
people in the legal fraternity and mental health practitioners, even in the family advocate offices, don't know the signs of alienation. They can't
Correct.
identify it. They can't see it. They are so easy to manipulate. And unfortunately, the alienators are people who are very good at manipulation. So they get away with it.
They do. And unfortunately, our legal system is a little bit outdated that doesn't take these
Mm.
things into consideration.
Yes.
As you said earlier on, it is really interfering with a parent and his child's visitation in custody should
Mm.
be made a criminal offense, child
I agree
abuse.
with you. Mm-hmm.
That if a grandparent or a parent goes to such extent that
Mm-hmm.
they literally be charged and put on a registry.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps that will put an end to um, this. It's just pure maliciousness. There are families that can co-parent very healthily and very, very
Yes.
well.
Mm.
Um, and then there are other parents that don't want to be involved with their children at all.
Mm.
The law only takes that part into consideration, not the ones that wants to be involved with their children.
Mm. I
So,
agree with you. If it's a criminal offense, then it can also warrant immediate action. And that's the
correct,
problem now. The time that is bought with these strategies gives the alienators enough room to alienate a child sufficiently. If it
correct.
was at the first sign of alienation, acted upon immediately with force, it could be
Yes,
stopped.
yes.
But that doesn't happen. And
And there
that's where our
are,
problem is.
exactly, and there are all these underhanded legal tactics like
Mm,
not agreeing to mediation, not
mm,
consenting to a third, an additional psychologist recommendation.
mm,
All of these things is just plays totally in favor of the alienator. I
mm.
mean, the longer they delay, the more damage that they can do.
Exactly. And by the time if you manage to win that legal battle, so much time has gone past that you're estranged from your child.
Correct,
You
correct.
know, the,
If
the,
I
the,
haven't
the
moved
harm
over
has been
here,
done.
yeah, if I didn't move over here to see him for that 3 or 4 minutes a day, I wouldn't have had a relationship with my child by
Mhm.
now. Um, it takes 10 minutes of us being together for the ice to be broken.
Mm,
And we can be sitting in a restaurant. He sits on top of my lap. He doesn't want to sit next to me. He doesn't want to sit opposite me.
mm,
He wants to sit on my lap with his arm around me, playing with my ear on his phone. So a child longs for affection from both
mm,
parents.
mhm. Of course they do.
And
They need
denying him
both
that
parents.
is, um, it's cruel.
It's
It's
cruel.
cruel.
It's
There
cruel.
are people that get sent to prison for theft, petty theft, for stealing
Mm,
nappies and for stealing baby powder. Whereas crimes like this, which are much more abusive,
mm,
are just being brushed underneath the
yeah.
carpet.
It's an absolute tragedy. Eunice, can I ask you as a father, and I know this will be meaningful to every other father out there or any other alienated parent. I want to ask you, because I personally know so many fathers who eventually give up because they simply cannot fight anymore. What do you do to keep going? What do you do? You said earlier you'll never give up on your child, and that is commendable and so beautiful that you said that. But how do you keep going? How do you keep at it? How do you not lose
It
all
has
faith
been
and give
so,
up?
so difficult. It has been really very, very difficult. One of the most difficult things to do. My family has told me, listen, you need to look after yourself.
Mm-hmm,
You've packed up your entire livelihood. You're sitting far away from your support system.
mm,
Your finances are taking a strain because you basically running a business long distance now. Um, it has been extremely difficult,
mm,
extremely difficult. And one thing I've realized was when I was so far from my child, I was running my business, but my mind and my heart wasn't really set there
mm-hmm,
because everything, yes, I keep myself busy in order to keep my mind off of the situation. But I get home to an empty house and I see his toys still lying in the bath,
mm,
his room empty, and I come home to an empty home. That's when the depression hits. That's when it's at its hardest.
mm,
Um, Only a parent will know that feeling.
mm,
And moving over here, I don't really do much. Work, eat, sleep, gym, try and see him and fight this battle every day.
mm,
But when I close my eyes at night, I see my child's face in front of me. And I don't want to abandon him. Because if I do, I know what they're going to say to him. Look, your dad abandoned you. He didn't really care about you. And that's the last thing I want from my child to think about me. I
mm.
know the mean things he said, like I'm stalking him and all of the other petty little stabs about the surname and so forth. It's not really him speaking. It's what
Mm,
he's been coached to do.
mhm,
And I actually feel sorry for him. And what's giving me drive and motivation is he's too small to fight this battle. I have to
yeah,
fight it on his behalf.
mhm,
And if I just give up on him, when he's 12 or 13 years old, he wouldn't know who I am. We won't have a relationship.
mm,
So now he's 8 years old. I've been in this battle for 2 years already. I'm a third of the way there. I'm just looking at the future the whole time. And the more difficult they make it for me to see him, the more I use it as a drive, as motivation to, keep my chin up and keep fighting.
yeah,
I've even set up an email for him. He's too young to read it at the moment, but I've set up an email in case one day he asks me what happened, that I
mhm,
don't have to tell him. That I say, look here, this is everything. Here's a diary of from the first day that you saw what happened in the car to all the litigation documents sent from our lawyers in between, all the psychologist letters, all the times I've asked to see you, everything, every single little instance where I've been there to visit him, they kept him away from me. All of that I've sent to him on an email.
mm,
And one day when he's old enough, I'll let him read that and make up his own mind.
mm,
And I sort of know what's going to happen. A lot of people have told me, yeah, it's going to backfire against him. But I can't just leave it like that.
mm,
Um, if I just have to leave it like that, even if it did backfire against him, and I have to deal now with an estranged teenager, how am I going to restore that bond? No, I'd
mm,
rather keep him in my life,
mhm,
keep this battle going. It's only another 4 more years before he's a little bit more um, mentally able to realize what is going on around him.
mm. Wow. Yeah, that is beautiful, and much respect to you for keeping at it and not giving up. I know it's very hard and it's
Yes,
extremely painful.
there's times where I definitely want to throw in the towel. There's
Mm,
times where I felt to myself, I also want to feel wanted by my child.
mm,
You know, I'm chasing and pursuing his love, and it would be really nice if he returns it to me as well.
mm.
Uh, and then I just have to realize that, it's not him. He's just the pawn in this whole situation.
Yeah, and you can't take anything personally, especially the hurtful things that come from
Yes,
them. It's clearly stuff that they were coached and groomed to do, but
correct.
still painful nonetheless. Hey,
Yes. I
yeah.
mean, one of his psychologists' meetings, the report that was sent to me, why he was angry with me when I asked her what was going on, it came out that I beat his dog. So
Yes. Mm,
I haven't seen him for an entire year. Where does he get that information from?
mm.
I mean, there's never in our entire life that I've beat his dog. I mean, that's just
Like I said, it's like a soap opera. Actually, it's like such far-fetched allegations and lies and stories that are made up to build that narrative. And
mm,
one of the big challenges that I experienced also and that I see with the clients that I work with is to check your own behavior so much that you don't do anything that plays into that narrative that they've created about you. Because they build a story of how horrible and terrible you are, or how
yes,
abusive you are, how crazy you are. So if
yes,
you show your anger or your frustration, or you act out, or you react, or
reactive abuse.
respond to all that it's like they tempt you all the time, and if
Yes,
you play into that narrative, you're done. You can't do
correct,
that. So it must take a
correct.
tremendous amount of self-control to remain calm and in control and check your behavior all the time.
Yes. I have been doing a lot of research on this narcissistic abuse, and in the beginning, it was like that. It was always trying to defend myself,
Mm,
always trying to allegations get thrown to me, and I was like, when did this happen? Why did this happen?
yeah.
Um, Sending my child a voice note that's uh, stop lying, God's watching you, all of those type of things makes me look like the bad person in the end.
Yes.
But it's all reactive abuse.
Mm,
And eventually they say time heals, but it doesn't really heal. You just get wiser to what's around you. The
mm,
pain remains over there, but now you don't feed it anymore. And that's
mm,
one thing I've realized. Um, it is extremely difficult to not send a reactive message, to not react on a situation that's been clearly designed to frustrate you. Drive all the way over there um, just to sit in front of their house for them to make my child phone me and say, oh, my tummy is sore. If I have to send a message to him again, lashing out on him, I look like the bad person. So at the end of the day, not reacting to those things and just instead of showing my teeth, let that fire just die because
mm.
that's one of the easiest ways to just put an end to this toxic situation that they are basically leading me into.
It's very difficult. It's like having traps set for you all the time, and you have to be so vigilant
Correct.
all the time, and that's exhausting. Apart from the trauma and the heartbreak that you're going through, it's also exhausting to have to not play this game, but at
Yes.
the same time fight it. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And
Mm,
funny enough, when you do react, it's exactly what they want.
yes.
Exactly what they want.
Mm,
It's they sit there with a smile on their face, looking, see, I told
yeah,
you, this
I
is what your
told you.
dad is.
Mm, it's very difficult. Eunice, thank you so much for sharing your story with us and bringing your wisdom to this conversation. I know that this will be inspiring for every alienated parent out there who will watch this. And I'm very grateful that you've come here to share the space with me. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you, Sinta. Have a wonderful day. I appreciate for you giving me this platform to express myself, because um, uh, there's not many people that will understand who's going through this.
Mhm.
And sometimes speaking to your parents, my parents, um, it's not really the right thing to do, because they feel the pain, and I'm just passing on the pain to them as well.
Mhm.
So I don't want to make not just my life hard, but now by speaking to them and showing that I'm going through a difficult stage. My parents love me just as much as I love my son.
True.
So yeah, I don't want to put this unnecessarily onto them as well. So it's nice to have a platform to speak out,
Mm.
and to, if you do some research, you'll see that there's many other fathers
Mhm.
going through the same battle.
Mhm. Many.
And I take my hats off to them. There's a lot of parents, not just fathers, parents that
Mm.
resorted to alcohol, drugs, and suicide.
That's true.
And
Very sad.
unfortunately,
Mm.
this is at the hands of someone else.
Yeah.
So I also hope that at the end of this, that our legal system can change, and
Mm.
the abuse that a parent has been put through, this mental abuse, this emotional abuse, financial abuse.
Mm.
Um, most parents aren't in the situation to afford a lawyer who to take this further.
Mm.
So that's why, you can bring, if they can bring criminal charges into the situation, um, I think perhaps then some parents will realize that, there are consequences to
Mm.
this type of behavior.
Mm. We have a long way to go, and fortunately, we have people all over the world who are campaigning for this.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that we'll get the necessary changes made so that we can become better. Families cannot be destroyed like this. It simply cannot happen.
Thank you, Santa. Thank you.
Thank you.